Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Today we are reviewing your draft teams. So we did this last year, but this year I'm really excited because we've got a super active community. Everyone's been discussing ranks, getting trade advice leading up to the season kickoff. Some people more involved than others, but overall, it's been pretty cool seeing the teams roll in. So what we're going to do is just go through the teams, going to run them through and discuss what I like, what I don't like, and potentially what I'd look to do as the season develops, which I think is like probably the big thing here. So I'm going to get stuck right in. First team is Lucas Mentos, who has been in the Discord community since day one. So shout out to Lucas. Thank you so much, brother. 26 grand final 12 team. He didn't mention where he drafted, but with Nico there, I'm guessing he's probably top 5. So just run it from the top there. Crossland, it's been one game for the Knights, and Crossland went from hooker to lock, so pretty promising signs for the Phoenix pickup, which I'm sure was a pretty late dart throw for Lucas, so I think he'd be pretty happy with that. Uto and Pole in the middle, or Bole, sorry. I like that for him. I think Bole looked pretty good. Terrell May played big minutes, but Bole's runs looked just as good as they did last year, and I think those two boys are going to trend in the right direction from a minutes perspective, and Twile can find a HIA or a injury, so I think Bole is a great late throw there at your second 2RF. We haven't seen exactly yet in round 1 what it means, what Uto means going to the Storm. What that means for him and his production, but I do like the pickup, and I do have him in the community leagues. I think there's a chance of upside there in the FRF, which is always nice. Looks like no captains, vice captains, so things like getting your front rowers right is actually pretty important in these non-captains leagues. His second row forward group is pretty solid. Crichton had a quiet game when the Roosters got sort of trounced down in Sydney by the Bronx, but he is a stud and he should be fine. Hutto Young, on the other hand, had a good game and should continue to be pretty good. He just can find SuperCoach points. He's a bustling ball runner who can get over the line. Tommy Gilbert, he looked really good. He was everywhere for the Finns. They got beaten there, and it wasn't the best game. Wasn't super entertaining, but Tommy Gilbert, he just wears his heart on his sleeve. So I think he's a great third to RF. So really nice core here for Lucas. And as I said, in a non-captains league, depth is really valuable. You want everyone firing or having the ability to fire. Nico Hines, as I said, probably his first pick. Definitely his first pick. It's fine. I do think he ends up kicking, only because I think in the past he's kicked a bit better than Trindle, and I'd say the reason he didn't kick is that groin injury. I love Lockie Galvin, got him in the community league, so that's a good one there, Lucas. Then he's got a CT dub core of Dom Young, Cobbo, Timoko, and McLean. So unlucky on McLean, but it's still a solid pick. He's got Toya on the bench. He can bring him for McLean and create a stack with Young, which is absolutely epic. Timoko, I recommended as a bounce back, and he looked pretty darn good in game 1. However, the Warriors looked pretty bad, so bear that in mind. But absolutely love Timoko as a third CT dub. That's epic. Cobbo as a second CT dub. Brilliant. 3 tries in game 1. Look, you need more from him, but if you just watch the game script, they went a lot left, and when Mariner made breaks, he always went back infield. So Cobbo just didn't get the extra line break and run that he probably would get in a typical affair, and therefore that score just came under what we want, especially for 3 tries. That's pretty abysmal to go sub 90 on 3, but it's still promising signs with scoring 3 tries is still pretty darn good. And we did see some shape end up in his single line break try at the end. So that's really what we want from big Coblo. So, and Dom Young looks solid. So the risk with Dom Young is he gets dropped for defense, but that ain't happening, I don't think. They need all the attack they can get. So pretty solid CT dub core when you back that up with a 2RF core that he's got there. So yeah, really strong team. Connor Tracy at fullback to cover for Pappy is fine. Pappy at I just don't love your first 2 picks of Hines and Puppy, but if it pans out, it pans out, and if not, you've got enough talent elsewhere to make it work. Toya looked the goods, mate, so having him to rotate into CT dubs is epic. Talangi, I don't think he's that good, and Radley too injury prone, so good team, Lucas. What I would do going forward with this one is you got to get off Nico for your finals, potentially. So there's something you could do there. The rest is all good. There's not a lot here, but I think if you could package a CT dub and Nico up for Jerome Hughes or something, could be an option, right? Or if Cleary goes down, you do a package and try to get Cleary. I think you just want to see how Nico goes, only because of the buy-in finals, not because I don't think he'll be very good, but just think about that going forward. But you should dominate, mate. Let's go on to the next team. It is Dransy, who's been in the community for ages. So shout out Dransy. I think in the small screenshot to the right was his team initially, then he's obviously gone to waivers and fixed it up. So we'll focus on the team on the left. He's got Mamazoulos at hooker, Thompson and Couchman are both fine. Nickera, Pearce, Paul and Gilbert, really strong base in the middle with a bit of upside in Nickera. Moses, do not like, but he's got Trindle as coverage. Benny Hunt, really good, looked really good game one. Herbie, Garrick, Ero, Marzu, really stacked. Drinky, with a bench of Fermor, Carraz, Alamotti, Kinney. Look, to be honest, 10 team, 26 GF. It looks like you're drafting against people that aren't really clued in, mate. Like, to get Farmworth, Garrick and Ero, it's a bit of a disgrace when you've got Drinky too. Like, so I think this one is just a case of your league just not being that competitive, unfortunately. So you probably win no matter what with this team. Moses obviously an issue, but because you're covering it with Trindle, Pierce, Paul and Gilbert, you've got coverage with Fermor, Kinney, because this is just not that interesting because I just think the competition you're up against is just too weak or just not really clued in or interested. So you'll dominate, mate, good on ya, but you need to get into a more competitive league. You clearly you know your stuff, but you need to put yourself up against some real challenge, I think, next year, mate. Jesse 496, thanks for submitting. 26 GF, 12 team pick 4. See what Jesse did from pick 4. Looks like he got Tommy, which is sick. We'll go from the bottom up this time. Tommy and Garrick stacks just OP, mate. It's tough coming out of those early rounds in the draft. When you do that, you think, I've only got a fullback and a centre wing, but the stack and their finals run, I think it's game over for your opposition. That's awesome. Then you manage to get Marju, who I like. You've got To'o as well. You would have got that third pick by the looks, or maybe fourth, because Hopgood. Probably, that's crazy. Hopgood and To'o, it's amazing you got both, and then even Moses. So you've really drafted well. Whether your opponents that switched on again, we might have a bit of a Dransy case here because that's a pretty stacked team, mate. Cotter's nice. Bole and Collins, obviously your last picks. McInnes is nice. Moses is injured. Dewey's a great dart throw late. So I like that you punted hooker and 5/8 and sort of figured it out later. That's a good way to go, just to stack those other positions. Blore, great coverage. Cardi, I don't know if he'll be relevant. RCG, punt him. And Sammy Walker stash is just epic, even though he doubles up with Moses. Could look to trade one later on in the season. But really good team. Tommy, Garrick, so OP, mate. Marjorie looked epic the other day for the night. So, you should dominate. That's all I do is just figure out the Walker Moses thing later in the season. And I try grab someone better off the waivers than Campbell Graham and Cardi. Blore's a really good hold, especially through Origin when you're going to lose Cotter and Hopgood. But team stacked, mate. Love it. Good stuff. Enjoy the season. Coley here, day one in the Discord. Appreciate you, mate. Shout out. That goes to everyone who's obviously in the Discord. We've got a lot of day oneers here. Coley's got JMK at hooker, who I love the talent. Who's pretty quiet tonight. Did not enjoy watching that. A bit injury prone, but it's fine. It's hooker. Who cares? Lindsay Smith's great get. I had him high on the rankings, as you guys know. Didn't manage to get him in my draft league, which I have a lot of regrets about because he looked awesome. Just think when Liam Henry comes back, I'm not hoping he cannibalizes Smith's minutes, but I think that will happen a bit. And so that was why I didn't want to go in for Smith too hard, but I think it'll be sweet. Bole looks good. Olakwatu, Blore and Fafita's an awesome call there. Fogarty's fine. Metcalf's fine. Just a bad game for Metcalf, but he's fine. Campbell's great upside there for Metcalf in 5/8. And then if Fogarty's quiet, you can go Metcalf. That's cool. In halfback, we like that. It's really good flexibility with a four-man bench. It's awesome flexibility. Tulungi's a hold. Tommy and Kinney is OP. Gagai, Garrick. So really good team. We really need to get away from the two CTW teams rosters, guys. There's just no world you should have two front rows and two CT dubs. It just makes no darn sense. I'm sick of seeing it, and the commissioners who do it, I need to hear why. It makes no sense. I'm in a 3, which could easily be changed to a 4, and there's CT dubs floating around all the time that are super good. Like, everyone's got 1 to 2 good ones on the bench. It's annoying. So 2 is just ridiculous. So let's sort that one out. But yeah, this team should dominate. Tommy and Kinney to interchange is just OP. So good stuff, mate. Ethan, Robson at hooker, same as me. Barnett and White's fine. Crichton, Nanai, Finu are all good. Having Kickout and Finu to interchange is really good. Maddo, you can keep an eye on, but probably he's a drop soon. Hines is fine. Benny Hunt's great. Tupou, Rami, and Farlongo, Howarth with Puppy. A lot of Storm, but we love that for you because you love him, obviously. Great that you've got the Puppy handcuff. Howarth should be good. Rami and CT dub 1. Tupou was quiet, but he will be better. Iongi on the bench is great as well. Arthurs is definitely a play. I'd say you want to get Arthurs in most weeks because of how good the Broncos looked, especially going left with Benny Hunt. Pairing up Benny Hunt to Walsh to Arthurs is going to be a big staple of your scoring this season. So overall, it looks like you were drafting against people who knew what's up, because if you're playing Finu, if you're leaning on Howarth, Farlongo, Tupou, that sort of stuff, I can tell you're in a relatively competitive league. So it's really good from pick 2. I know some people would panic with Hines at pick 2 that he wasn't kicking, but you've done all right. And I know from the Discord, this is your first year, so pretty happy with this team. Should be comfortable. You've got good coverage. I'd just be playing the waivers a bit to try and improve on Maddo. That's really it. Everything else looks pretty good. I like Kicker to kick out or rotate on matchups over Finu. That makes sense. During Origin, could be a bit tough with Robson, Crichton, Benny Hunt. But then your backline won't play much Origin, so that's good. You were sitting pretty good, Ethan. I like it, mate. Next team. Oh, I've forgotten the... Oh, I'm going to have to stop this one halfway because I've got the same screenshot for this bloke. Doozy lad, my bad. Here now. So we're all good. Sorry about that one. So he's pick 6. 26 grand final, 12-team league, so a pretty deep league here. Let's see what he's come out with. He's got Mamazellis at hookers, fine. Utuku and Arrows, fine. Katoa, Ola, Bateman, really strong. Holy, that second row is nice with Sandon to replace Mamazoulos on the bench and Williams and Seyfarth as your backup to RFs. I think neither of them will be overly relevant, unfortunately, but you should be able to resolve that on the waivers. I like seeing the 5-man bench just to cover HIAs and injuries. That makes sense. Fogarty, Nikorima, I can see you've sort of punted those positions. That's totally cool. Unlucky round 1 without Nico, but he'll come good. Talangi as a potential improvement on Nikorima. I like that. Gagai, Muli, Firma, Tamale, epic backline. You've done really well. There's some strong base in there with Tamale, Gagai, and Firma, and Tommy as your first pick at fullback. Super strong team, mate, in a 12 team. That's crazy. I like that you've punted sort of hooker, halfback, and 5/8, but then managed to cover it on the bench. And then you've got To'o on the bench as well. So yeah, OP. Think you're due for a bit tougher competition too, Doozy. In a 12 team to have this team's pretty crazy. So some of you boys need to ramp it up next year. You need to get yourself into some other community leagues or something else, because you guys clearly know what's going on and you've versed some people that don't. So we've got to get you boys ramped up. All right. Next team is Aiden. Day 1 fella Aiden, I believe. So appreciate you, mate. Shout out. Watson at hooker's awesome. Horsey at front row. So this is one of those 2 CT dubs leagues I don't love, but at least they've gone to the 1 front rower, which makes sense. If you're going to play it like that, do it like that. Then he's got Nickera, Preston for feeder. He's got Fogarty, Dewey. So he's sort of gone late on halfback and 5/8. Garrick, Hopewade, Tua Picky fullback, Kinney on the bench, Brimson and Fafita. So yeah, stacked team. I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell in these short rosters like how good this team is. But look, we know it's pretty good. The big manly stack there with Kinney to come in for Tua Picky. You got To'o to come in for Lehigh on the matchups if you don't love it. You got Fafita to come in for Preston. So it's a pretty crazy team. Pick 12, you've done well, but again, you might be due to either ramp up the rosters a bit to test your group's knowledge and whatnot. So go 3 CT dub. 3 CT dub and then keep the 2 RF, or go 1 front rower or 2 front rower, 3 go back to standard kind of thing, and then extend a bench spot could be due. It's pretty gross for a 12-teamer, but yeah, you're clearly dominating, mate. So it should be a pretty cruisy season for you with this squad, mate. Well done. That's it. That wraps up the reviews. Yeah, most of you guys after the start just did teams that were way too good, which is great credit to you guys, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. But it doesn't leave much for me to sort of analyze because you just stack to the nines. For example, Aiden here is just Manly and Titans who have epic finals runs, so you're gonna be cruising home, mate. You've even got Toe there as well. So yeah, so couldn't go into too much detail, but hopefully if you submitted teams or just enjoy draft content, you enjoyed this enough. Let me know in the comments your feedback, and I think we should get all these guys together who dominated their draft and pit them against each other next year. I think that's what we should do, because you guys are deserving of a bit more of a challenge, I reckon, how well you guys are drafting these teams. So yeah, that's it, and we'll catch you in the next video, which is gonna be a players to watch for the season coming up from a draft perspective. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. Thanks, team.